All right, our final paragraph for Mr. Gribnow is a narrative about our rock personification narrative. Remember, when we do a narrative, we use our plot mountain, okay, which starts with our exposition, where we meet our characters and the characters and the setting, and we have a problem. Then we have our rising action, which goes up to our climax. Then we have our falling action and our resolution, okay? So Mr. Gribnow has told us to imagine that we're taking our new friend on an adventure. Or maybe we really can take him on an adventure, okay? I'm going to pretend that I'm taking my rock, Martha, on an adventure because I'm just staying here at home. I could go on an adventure in my backyard, but I'm going to imagine that Martha and I are going on a longer adventure. We're going to go across Washington State. We're going to go across Washington State, okay? I'm going to start here in Walla Walla. So our starting setting is going to be in Walla Walla. Walla Walla. The characters are going to be me and Martha. It would probably be better if I said Martha and I. Okay? And the problem is going to be that Martha misses her cousins. Okay? All right. Now, we're going to have some events. That's going to be our rising action. Okay? She's going to miss her cousins, and so we're going to have to travel. And we're first going to go to, well, we're here in the Columbia Basin, and the Columbia River travels from the Columbia Basin all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And some of her cousins have weathered down into smaller rocks, and as a matter of fact, ooh, that's a good idea. There was the flood this spring, right? That's how she got separated from her cousins. Okay? We're going to start in Walla Walla, and there's going to be the flood. Okay? And during the flood, a lot of land got washed away from here in Walla Walla and taken down down Mill Creek to the Walla Walla River, to the Columbia River, and out. And some of those particles and pieces probably even made it all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Okay? So Martha's missing some of her small little cousins. We're going to start here in Walla Walla. And first we're going to go down Mill Creek, and we're going to join the Walla Walla River. So we're going to go from Mill Creek to the Walla Walla River, looking to see if we can find her cousins. Then we're going to go from the Walla Walla River to the Columbia River, looking for her cousins. Then we're going to go take the Columbia River all the way to the Pacific. That's going to be the climax of our story. She's going to find her cousins. Then we'll have our falling action, okay? So let me see if I can tell this story. All right. Martha is a rock that lives on Mill Creek. For many years, she lived tucked nice and comfortable, surrounded by soil and her cousins, until in February, a flood came and washed away all of the soil and dirt around her, and she lost her little cousins. I found her in my backyard, and she was so sad. She said, "I miss my cousins." I said, "Well, let's go look for them." So Martha and I got on a raft and floated down Mill Creek all the way to where it met the Walla Walla River. "Do you see your cousins yet?" Martha said no. So we started floating down the Walla Walla River. We went past wild turkeys and beavers and muskrats, all the while asking them, "Have you seen my cousins?" No, nobody had seen Martha's cousins. We made it all the way to the Columbia River. There was a huge amount of sand and rocks that had built up there at the mouth of the Walla Walla River. We looked and looked. Martha's cousins were nowhere to be found. So we took a long journey, going down the mighty Columbia River all the way to where it met the Pacific Ocean. We passed salmon and seals. We passed bald eagles and seahawks. And finally, when we made it to the Pacific Ocean, at first Martha was so sad because there was no more traveling to do. We had reached the end of the river. She was sad. I'm never going to find my cousins. And she plopped down on the sandy beach next to the river and cried. All of a sudden, she heard some small voices, "Martha, Martha, Martha!" And she looked, and there they were. All of her cousins, hundreds of them, had made it to the beach at the Pacific Ocean. Martha was so happy. She gathered all of her little cousins around her. She wanted to bring them back to Walla Walla, but they all told her how wonderful it was at the Pacific. They tried to convince her to stay, but she said, "No, I'm going back with Mrs. Gilmore up Mill Creek to Walla Walla." So Mrs. Gilmore and Martha and I, traveled all the way back to Walla Walla, and she was happy, knowing that her cousins were safe and sound. There. That's how I could write a paragraph about my imaginary adventure with Martha the Rock. Remember, you can use voice to text. You can write it with paper and pencil. You can use Vocaroo.com to record it. You could even make a comic strip and draw pictures showing your adventure with your rock. I look forward to seeing how creative you can be.